Hey, buddy, watch this.
Hello, hello. Regis Kilbin is the name, and Hearthstone is the game, and this is my Karazhan Budget Beast Druid deck. Now, this is a deck designed specifically for new and growing players who don't have every card in Hearthstone, who don't have a ton of arcane dust, but still want to have a moderately competitive deck that helps them climb up the ranked ladder. This one is specifically designed for new players who have already purchased the One Night in Karazhan adventure, and still have 500 arcane dust to craft some additional cards. As long as you've got Karazhan, as long as you've got 500 arcane dust, you can build this list. Now, that said, this list is not designed to carry you all the way up the legend ladder. You're not going to hit legend number 1 with this list. It's simply not that good. It's missing some key cards. It's missing some of the high power stuff. This deck is designed to take you to somewhere like rank 10. You're not going to be the best Hearthstone player ever with this list, but it's a good start. It'll get you climbing the ranked ladder. It'll familiarize you with what Beast Druid has to offer, if that's the kind of class you want to play, and it will just get you started and get you on the right track in this Karazhan meta. So this is a Beast Druid deck, and what that means is that it relies on minions with the Beast classification and a few different synergy cards that take advantage of that Beast classification to do cool stuff. Namely, the Whispers of the Old Gods card, Mark of Yasharaj, which is a nice little buff that also draws you a card, and this deck's a little bit susceptible to a lack of card draw and a lack of cards, so it's really important that you do draw that card and hit it on a beast, although sometimes, a 2-2 buff is a 2-2 buff, and it can be played in other scenarios. There's also the really powerful Menagerie Warden. This is a nice 5/5 minion that can do crazy stuff like summon an extra 5/5 minion if you happen to cast this battle cry on your Stranglethorn Tiger or your Druid of the Claw. But even if you cast it on something like a Druid of the Saber or a River Crocolisk, it's still a nice little bundle of stats for 6 mana that can really help you cement your board control, apply pressure to your opponent, or sometimes recover a little bit if they've dealt and killed a number of your minions. As long as you've got something to play with it, like an Enchanted Raven for 7 mana total, you can help refill your board quite quickly with 3 minions at once, which is really powerful. So this is the kind of card that, even though it's not a legendary or an epic card, it still packs a lot of punch and can still help you win games, and certainly swings above the weight of a meager budget style collection. This deck also includes a number of other Karazhan cards that both influence the beast nature, like Enchanted Raven, just a nice, really powerful 1 mana beast that gets you off to a solid start. It also includes Pantry Spider, which, even though each of these minions don't seem all that threatening on their own, when you get 2 1/3s that tend to stick around and tend to survive through a turn, you can do really cool stuff with all the different buffs like Power of the Wild and Mark of Yasharaj in this deck. And it's just nice to always have a body for Savage Roar as well, and that makes Pantry Spider quite good. There's also the Menagerie Magician, which is another beast synergy card in a way. This gives a beast +2/+2. Even though we don't have a dragon or a murloc to add additional potential synergy with this card, it's still a good additional 5-drop that helps you fill out the middle of your curve with a nice buff, and can sometimes just give you that nice 3/5 Pantry Spider that makes all the difference. So one extra little card that is a Karazhan card, so it's cheap to include and makes a little bit of sense with this deck. Finally, there's the Moonglade Portal. I will say this card probably doesn't fit perfectly in this list, because this is a deck that's more about applying pressure and being slightly aggressive. It's not very defensive in nature. So healing yourself rarely will make a difference, because you don't really want to heal yourself. But simply being able to summon a random 6-cost minion is actually pretty powerful in a budget collection, because there's a lot of good 6-drops. There's the Sylvanas and the Cairn, and just a number of other good 6 mana cards that you probably don't have access to in your collection, and sometimes summoning that Sylvanas or that Cairn can be enough to win the game. So if you don't have a good 6-drop of your own, this can sort of create a 6-drop for you, plus it has the nice side effect of a heal. Now, sometimes 6-drops can backfire. There's some subpar 6-drops, but even then, just this deck needed one more card that was sort of a late game card like this, 6 mana plus card, and rather than squeezing in a pair of Boulder Fist Ogres, which might be consistent but really aren't that good, it's a lot easier to just run Moonglade Portal, a new Karazhan card, and occasionally swing for the fences with a really nice legendary that pops out. So neat little card to top off the end of the list. Now, when you look at the curve of this deck, it's definitely got a lot of early game, a lot of 1 and 2 drops, and that's important because you need to get off to consistent good starts, both to keep your opponents in check, but also just to apply a lot of pressure. So sometimes you can just win the game with, double Living Roots, double Enchanted Raven, Druid of the Saber, Savage Roar, and the game's over. You have 5 minions, you Savage Roar, and it's over. Other times you just want to have a consistent board and cheap minions to use things like Power of the Wild and Mark of Yashiraj to buff them up and build an even more resilient board. And you've got some mid-game removal with like Swipe and Wrath to help stabilize your board and keep your opponent in check. So you're able to leverage those smaller minions for a longer period of time thanks to that mid-game removal. And you've also got a little hump here if you look in the 5 and 6 mana slots, and that's what really makes this sort of a mid-range deck more than an aggro deck. There are a lot of strong things that can happen post turn 5. You've got some big power turns and some swing turns in the mid game. So even if you run out of gas a little bit in the early game, you still have some ways to win or continue applying pressure that your opponent just can't answer. And that's what makes this deck quite competitive, despite only costing 500 dust and a little bit of adventure money. So all that said, this is my Karazhan Budget Beast Druid deck. I'm really fond of this list. It's not quite a totally refined Beast Druid. There's some other stuff you might run if you're looking to build a super competitive Beast Druid deck, and there are lots of lists out there that you can find. I'm not even going to make a recommendation for sort of an intermediate list. I think if you look around the internet, and probably including on my channel, you'll find some high-end Beast Druid decks that you can start to build towards. And you'll find even more success as your collection continues to grow and develop. But all that said, I do want to go ahead and take this list out onto the ranked ladder to see it in action, because that's really how you learn to play a list and understand what it's all about. And I will say that we're at rank 13 right now on the ranked ladder, and I advertise this deck is probably good up to rank 10 or so, which I firmly believe. But I will say that right now rank 13 is still very competitive. This is like day 3 of the season. So a lot of legend players and high single-digit ranked players are currently ranking back up after the season reset. So we might see some legend card backs and some very top meta decks, and it might be a challenge to win games even at rank 13 right now. But as the season wages on, and the end of the month rank 13 is very different than the beginning of the month rank 13. So there's a chance I lose all 3 games that I play here. That's a risk you take when making videos, but even if that happens, don't get discouraged. It doesn't mean the deck is inherently broken or bad. It just means we're playing against really good players with really good decks right now, and it's going to be a challenge to overcome. But I think we'll still find some success and at least compete on a nice level, which is really what we're trying to accomplish here, and just see what the deck is about, not necessarily trying to win games. But that said, I've been playing the deck a lot. It's fundamentally solid. It has a nice curve. It's got all the pieces it needs to win games. So a little bit you'll have to take my word on it, but hopefully we're able to win some games too. So let's jump into this game. As far as the mulligan was concerned, I'm really looking for early game cards first and foremost. So I really don't even remember what I mulliganed, but hopefully it reflected that. Here, we can just use this Living Roots to kill this. It's pretty nice because we don't want a turn 2 Mark of Yashiraj to totally blow us up. And I theoretically could cast my own Living Roots with the coin, but I'd rather just save that. We have a lot of ways to buff up minions with Power of the Wild, so we could have like a super turn later where we just buff a ton of stuff at once. And if I play Living Roots now, he gets to hero power one of them for free, which makes it worse later. What might happen actually right now is I just go ahead and coin the Pantry Spider in anticipation of a turn 3 Living Roots into Power of the Wild, with theoretically 4 minions receiving the buff from Power of the Wild. Because he's not going to feel compelled to kill this. He doesn't want to Wrath this. His hero power doesn't do anything. There's no coin swipe option or anything like that. So these are both likely going to live, which means I get a wicked good buff, right? Just a kind of an insane buff. So I could go ahead and clear off this Mounted Raptor. Do I want to or not is the question. I guess I do. Mark of Yashiraj is a scary card. This could theoretically play into Swipe a little bit, or at least enable his hero power a little bit, but it's better than giving him a really big Raptor that I can't trade into later. So here's the Swipe. But it's really not that good of a Swipe. I actually have a really nice play to follow up to, so... Well, actually I don't, because my Beast is gone. I can still cast the mark on the River Croc, but it doesn't give me an instant buff, right? Like, I don't get to charge with the +2/+2. It's going to take a turn for the +2/+2 to activate. If it'd been a beast, I could have gotten another 2 attack in instantly, which would be nice. But a 4/5 is good. This is swipe resilient, a tough board to deal with, and we have some good minions to follow up. That's scary, but oh, what does Savage Roar do? Is it worth it yet? I guess it's not worth it yet. You know, Savage Roar is typically seen as a finisher, but sometimes if you have the mana and it lines up nicely, it's okay to Savage Roar just to get damage. Right now it's worth 8 damage, right? Like, I may never have 3 minions out again where this is worth 8 damage. So I could theoretically just Mark of Yashiraj this, make it a 5/7. Go face with everything. I'd have, or no, it'd be a 6/7, excuse me. So I'd have 6, 8, 10, plus 8 damage. I have 18 damage. We put him at 9 health. And we have 8 in charging. I think I'm going to do that, guys. I think we're going to do that. Let's draw the card first and see what we get. That's another good card. So let's just go and push for damage while we have these minions. So now he has to answer a 7 health guy, 2 little guys, and we still have 8 damage in hand with charging minions. So, you know, it's good. He's going to get a good trade here. Well, we don't see what would be bad. Wrath and Hero Power. That's pretty good, but he's still gonna. Actually, I don't really have a good way to kill this. Oh, double Wrath. Jeez, it's even better. I don't have a good way to kill this. Ugh. I can just Moonglade Portal, but then my 6-drop just dies. I think I'm gonna go ahead and charge. This minion will die to the 7/1, unfortunately. But I have 5 damage next turn, so if he doesn't taunt or Hero Power, we'll just kill him. It's not likely, but it's possible. There's the taunt, so that's not great. Taunted and Hero Powered. It's the opposite of what we want. But right, playing it as a 4/6 taunt wouldn't have helped, so that didn't matter. Oh, swipe is so close to lethal too. I'll go ahead and Moonglade here. See what we get. Not ideal. Not ideal. We're very unlikely to get this back in the Death Rattle. And it does clear the taunt, I guess, but it's susceptible to swipe is the problem. It doesn't have the swipe unless he innervate swipes here. So he may trade. Trading is fine for us. Oh, good. We might have lethal next turn. Might just have lethal next turn. I'm not sure what the math is like yet, but let's see. He's at 7, so we don't actually have lethal yet. But we're getting very close. Oh, he has a Fandral. That's scary. It's really scary. He's going to innervate something. What's he going to do? Yeah, he's innervating something. Druid of the Saber. He's looking to apply counter pressure, right? Do we have lethal yet? No, we have 4, 5. He's at 7. This is 9 mana, so we can't do this yet. Let's draw a card. I don't really know that it matters what I draw this on. Power of the Wild. That's fine. Actually, should I save this for the Druid of the Claw? No, this is the real... Alright, so this is what we're going to do, right? We're going to go face with the Hero Power. We're going to play this minion mostly as a distraction and just a mana sink, right? We need to lose some mana, or spend our mana. Could have played the Menagerie Magician, but it doesn't really change that much. And I might need this to buff something up later. So now he's going to have to taunt again. We have 9 damage this time, though. That won't do it. That won't do it either. So basically, we're just buying a turn to play this stuff at 9 mana together. There was no way to finish him off just with what we had. And that's game. So see, it really mattered that we used that Savage Roar. That gave us the damage necessary to win. And basically, exactly what we thought was going to happen happened. Now you might have asked, why didn't you Druid of the Claw and or swipe, or why didn't you Druid of the Claw or swipe the previous turn when you just played the Panther, right? Like, And the reason is because, like, if I'd put him down to 3 or something, he might have felt really pressured and found a way to heal or done something differently, right? If he thought he was going to die for sure, because that really showed my hand. It said, I'm trying to kill you right now. By waiting a turn, I had enough mana to do both anyway in a single turn. So I didn't show my hand, I didn't show my intention, didn't like make him rethink his plays or be crazy. He might have thought, oh, I have a little more time, or he's out of answers, he doesn't have the threats. So it kind of was a little bit of a mind game, just being patient with my resources. You don't have to go crazy every turn. He might have played a taunt if he'd felt really threatened. You never know, so it's just being like cautious and patient with my resources. Oh my god, we're playing Darth Vader. We're literally just playing Darth Vader. Oh god, that's scary. Okay, this is gonna be a challenge, boys. So again, mulligan, I'm just looking for early drops. Arcane Anomaly's okay against a warrior. They likely have Fiery War Axe, but 1 health versus 3 health doesn't matter against Fiery War Axe, so I'm fine to play the Arcane Anomaly. And the reason Arcane Anomaly's in this deck, by the way, is simply because it's really good with various spells, early game spells that we run. It's just another nice early Karazhan minion. You might want to run something like Argent Squire if you have that card in your collection, but this is essentially free since it's part of Karazhan, and this deck is built with the assumption that you already have Karazhan. So Arcane Anomaly is a good free 2-drop that works really nicely with spells. Like even Mark of Yasharaj is good with Arcane Anomaly. Despite the fact that Arcane Anomaly is not a beast, it still just gives you a really nice 4/4 minion with 3 total mana. So with even more upside, right? Because potentially you buff it even higher health. So good little card that works surprisingly well. We'll play the River Croc here on curve. You might say, well, why didn't you play the Living Roots? It's going to buff this. But then it doesn't really change much because 2 health versus 1 health. The only difference is Ravaging Ghoul. And he could coin a Ravaging Ghoul, but if he Ravaging Ghouls and I have the Living Roots out, it's the same difference. I don't want that. So that said, we're probably going to do that this turn. Just because that's what we've got. I don't really have choices now. I need to put these at 2 health to play around Ravaging Ghoul, so yeah, the Living Roots will die. It would be nice if he played a sort of a 2 health minion, right, that I could have killed with the Living Roots, so I didn't have these susceptible 1/1s out there right now, because right now these are just so susceptible. I would have preferred to use the 2 damage to kill something. And you might say, well, cast the 2 damage spell on his face, but yeah, that doesn't really do anything, so it doesn't help. So this is exactly what we were afraid of. He's even going to coin out something. What is this going to be? Execute. Whoa! That is an intriguing play. I would never have coined the Execute if it was me. So we don't need to swipe that. We can wait and be patient with my resource, right? I want this to hit 2 minions or something better, like a Frothing Berserker or who knows what, right? I don't actually know what kind of warrior this is just yet. He hasn't done anything to signal that until right now. It's probably a more control-style warrior, though it could still be Dragon or like a Cycle warrior with a combo. Which is better, the Druid of the Claw or the Stranglethorn Tiger? I think the Druid of the Claw for now. The Stranglethorn doesn't really trade that nicely into the Ravaging Ghoul. And the Druid of the Claw does trade a little better because it's got lower attack but more health, so the attack's sufficient, and the health might mean it's more likely to survive, but probably not because most warrior things do 3 damage, like Bash and Fire War Axe. So it probably didn't matter too much, but also this is something that plays into this a little bit better because it's going to live this turn, right? Unlike the Druid of the Claw, so. And now we have actually a 7 mana play here, which is pretty cool. That's sort of annoying. Ooh, this is an intriguing play. I kind of like this. I'm going to change my line a little bit. Rarely does the Moonglade Portal heal make a difference. Oh, that's great. Perfect. Rarely does it make a difference, but we were able to heal the Stranglethorn back up. Plays around Execute, makes it just harder to kill, right? You can still Shield Slam and stuff, but can't just kill it with a weapon. I was going to say with like a weapon like Fiery War Axe, but he could clearly kill it with a weapon. I actually think that was a mistake he made. He killed the Temple Enforcer, Yeah, it was definitely a mistake, because it's the bigger minion, and it's surface level, that's the right way to do it. But I'm a beast druid! You left me a beast! So clearly, actually I want the buff to be on the Stranglethorn no matter what, and this only buffs one minion. So I don't want the River Croc to get the buff, so I'm going to do this first. This gets it out of the 6 attack range, right? And we're pushing off armor, so there's a good chance that Shield Slam is not able to kill this. So he may actually have trouble killing the Tiger now. If he'd done it the other way, I wouldn't have been able to buff the Temple Enforcer. He could have killed both with the weapon. Right now he's going to have to use the weapon probably on the Magician instead. Or just brawl me like an idiot. That's fine too. Hopefully the Tiger lives. Nope. The worst minion lived. Still sad. I can't really play around Brawl too much in this deck. Like, we have to apply pressure. It's not like we can just sit around forever. So it's a necessary evil sometimes. Ugh, this is a pretty weak hand. Pretty weak hand. Swipe is not good in this matchup because we're not really concerned with removing mid-level threats. This is a control warrior, so he has a lot of big threats. Okay, that was there. Cool. Oh, that's all I got, buddy. Oh, Baron Geddon, that is tough. It wouldn't have mattered, though. I mean, I can't. A 2-1 stealth would have done 2 damage to your face and still died, so not really too significant of a difference. I can kill the Baron Geddon, but it's sure going to hurt. And the real problem, right, is that he has 5 cards, we have 0 cards, and his top decks are better than ours anyway. So we basically have no routes to victory in this game. Maybe a Stranglethorn into a Menagerie Warden into Savage Roar, something like that. Could potentially get me in the game, but basically the Brawl removing 2 of my threats, my 2 biggest threats actually, was devastating to our chances of success. There's virtually no way to win. And sometimes you run into these games, right? Like, there's just no route to victory. Nothing you do matters. Your deck is just not capable of winning. My gosh! That's a risky thing to say. Well played. So, this is an interesting dilemma, right? We can actually reduce his Grom's attack the same as the heal. So it doesn't really matter if I heal Grom or heal my face. I'm going to heal my face. Not the worst minion. Let's see. He has 17, so we're dead no matter what here. But this would be the technically correct play if we weren't dead, right? Somehow, if we had enough health to trade both in and go face. Instead of using our face to kill a minion, which you typically want to do, that maximizes the amount of health I could retain. But he has 17 on board, so we're just dead. Yeah, really just the Brawl that cost us that game. It's, 3 minion Brawl, though. It's not like we played into Brawl that much. It's just how it is sometimes. So we'll give it one more go. Give it one more go and see how the deck performs. That first game was a great example of how the deck wins, right? Get a surprisingly wide board, as we call it, of dudes. It's wide because, there's multiple minions. They're not necessarily strong, but they're wide. There's a lot of them. And buffing that board and leveraging that board, basically. So here I have a really nice open. I can coin the Druid of the Saber Stealth into Mark of Yasharaj for guaranteed buff and card draw. So I might actually keep the Pantry Spider too, just as a turn 3 play, so I know that I have a good curve. And the swipe is probably okay against Hunter, but let's see what else we can get. Enchanted Raven wouldn't be a bad turn 1 if I knew for a fact that he didn't have Quick Shot. But I don't know that, so let's try the Stealth Panther instead. This is going to be a good curve. Turn 4 is the only thing that doesn't have a lock right now, but even Enchanted Raven Hero Power is probably not the worst turn 4 in history. Okay, cool, we win that one. It's really important. Don't want him having cards. Living Roots is actually really important here, because look, I can buff the 3-2. But if I trade, which I'd want to do, because I don't want him having a beast either, this would be a 1 health guy, which, is not the worst against Hunter. They don't have a ping effect, but he could unleash the Hounds pretty easily to kill it. I just don't like where that line goes. So instead, I can just Living Roots to kill this and play the Enchanted Raven on curve. It's very unlikely he's able to kill both of these minions, so I probably have the Mark of Yasharaj next turn anyway. I don't even have to if I don't want to. I can play the Pantry Spider instead. I just like this line better. It makes things probably more awkward for him. So now I've got a little bit of a dilemma. The thing is, though, that this is on curve, so it feels much better. Yes, the weapon can kill any given one of these, but the odds of him killing all three is so slim. He could double quick shot, and it would work. It would do it. But it's so unlikely. Unleash doesn't really do all that much. Interesting. I would have killed one of these guys instead, I think. Oh, that's actually a great draw. So let's mark first. Living Roots, Power of the Wild. Now I'm kind of hesitant, and I think I'm going to save the Power of the Wild. Particularly because I can Hero Power and still accomplish something this turn. And we'll remove all his beasts, right? Yeah, it's kind of wasting a couple attack, but it's getting a beast off the board. It plays around a lot of stuff, so... this feels pretty good, and this is a nice turn. Really, really nice turn, particularly when I know that he's already used one Unleash the Hound, so like a wide board is less likely to get punished. Oh, that's nice. That's not bad. Alright, so let's... How do we want to test this secret? This changes things even more. Let's just test for like Explosive and Freezing Trap first. Could be something like Snipe. It's Freezing Trap, okay. So now I've got a really bad 5-mana 1/3 that's going to be hard to play with, but instead we'll just... he runs Deadly Shot, so Charge kind of makes sense. We don't need the Taunt, and I want to push some damage. Is 6 health worse than 4 health? Or, I mean, is 4 health worse than 6 health? It is against Beast into Kill Command. I guess we'll just risk the Deadly Shot. He's already played one. He's on 3 cards. There's 21 cards in his deck. It's so unlikely to have the second Deadly Shot. And this plays around Kill Command a little better. Okay, can deal with that. Oh, man. This is going to be a great token turn eventually. But right now, we're just going to do this. I'm not even going to play the Living Roots, I don't think. Should I? No, I'm going to wait till I can guarantee they get a buff, I think. This is more than enough board. It's not the best, but not the worst, probably. What's that going to be? Oh, you should definitely Houndmaster this one. Just worried about swipe, though. If he Houndmasters this and trades, it'll have 1 health. He'll be worried about swipe. Which, right now, he doesn't need to be. He doesn't know that we don't have it. Oh, that's Kill Command. Okay. Okay. Oh, man. This is the dream, guys. This is the dream. And I'm actually, I think Call the Wild is his best play. Call the Wild would kill this, and not be able to kill these. If he Call the Wilds, he's probably just dead to Savage Roar, right? We'd have... Let's actually sit and do the math on this. I'm considering going face, put him at 6, or killing the minion. Call the Wild is going to kill this regardless with the 5/2 charge, and then this would not be able to... Oh, it would be able to trade. It'd be able to kill 1 minion, so I'd be able to hit the Misha with this, and I'd have 3, 4, plus 4 damage. I'd have 8. So it'd be lethal. This would hit for 5, and I'd hit for 3, so it'd be lethal. So even if you Call the Wilds here, I think we're fine to go face, even though it's slightly less efficient than killing the minion. So no Call the Wild, so that's irrelevant. Got the Eye Main. No Call the Wild though. I don't think there's a route to victory here. I don't see what card he could possibly... That's not going to do it, yeah. That's game, boys. Really good turn for us. Savage Roar for the Flourish. Who cares? Alright. pretty good answer. Hunter is really a good deck these days, so I'm pretty happy to take one down. So there you go. That's I think that's going to do it for me. My Karazhan budget Druid had 3 pretty good games there. You know, I got to see some wins and a loss, so a fair run of what you're expecting to see with any given deck. Control decks like that Control Warrior could give you a lot of trouble, particularly if they have a good turn where they deal with your board. But if you're able to stick some guys, get the buffs, leverage your beast synergies, this is a scary deck that can do a lot of cool stuff. So, if you have any thoughts or comments on this deck, or you want to learn how to play it even more, feel free to ask questions in the comments below. I'm happy to answer those for you. I'd like to thank you for all your time, and until next time with another budget deck guide, game on.